BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy. Welcome back to me. I think Tim, maybe, to BRB UK. And hello everyone else. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 534. We are having real trouble getting the band back together at the moment for some reason. It's only a Dan, that's me, and a Tim, that's him. Say hello, Tim.
Hello.
It's only a Dan and Tim show because Coleman's secret agent job means he's trying to diffuse the situation in London Underground at the moment because there's a strike, and Coleman's the only man who can make it right. Apparently, that's all we know and all we're allowed to say.
Might be delayed due to the strikes in a slightly more boring way.
No.
No.
Last I heard, it's something to do with the RMT and a Slim Jim. That's all I heard.
Okay. Have you sufficiently recovered from COVID?
Yeah, so I'll just say that. The reason I wasn't here last week was because I'm 3 years in, I finally caught COVID for the first time, and
Didn't
man,
wash your
it was
hands
rubbish.
down.
But it wasn't so much that; it was the licking of the handrails that really did it. No,
right.
I think I know where I got it. And just so we don't get sued, I shan't name the name of the shop, but it was in Slough.
No.
Unsurprisingly.
They have shops in Slough.
And what they do. Yes, they do have shops. It's incredible, the things they've invented here now. But yeah, I was just absolutely out of it. And I know, because obviously a lot of my day job has been researching COVID treatments, stuff like that. And I know that it sucks, but there's still one bit of your brain that goes, mate, it's just a cold. Pull yourself together. It's not just a cold. It's really horrible. So I've only started feeling normal kind of early part of this week. We'll get into I reckon I was coming down with it when I tore Lightfall off a strip or two in the last episode. I think that must have been the initial signs of me coming down. I'm going to call that as my symptoms start date. Dan got grumpy with Destiny 2.
Just note, listeners, any time from now on, if Dan complains about Destiny, it could be because of COVID. Yep. That's all we're saying.
Yes,
not 100%,
absolutely.
But could be.
I'm infirm and incapable. I'm not myself. But yeah, really just kind of brain fog and knackered. So yeah,
not good.
Keep washing those hands.
Yeah, I've been in a position this week
hands.
where
Wash those goddamn hands.
I felt like I've been keeping a cold at arm's length all week and having to push it away to keep it there, kind of thing. It's not good. Obviously,
I'm not sure you can push a cold away.
Well, you're the medical expert, Dan, but I was making more of an analogy
push it away.
To the feeling of what was happening rather than an actual description
so how are you trying to
of
push
physical
it away?
events that were occurring.
How were you trying to push it away? Were you kind of trying to constantly exhale kind of a cloud in front of you? So you're kind of trying to move the air out of the way in front of you to give you a
I had to go to sleep
zone?
Early, but not felt very rested for doing so.
Okay.
Overworked, but still trying to keep up with things. Yeah, it's not been great. But I imagine having COVID is much worse.
Yeah, and I think it just being ill sucks, really.
Yeah. That doesn't help.
So anyway, I'm back alive again. If still not quite 100% right, so I'm probably talking even more nonsense than usual. Tim is Tim, and Coleman is saving the world, being a secret agent. We're assuming. Which kind of really hasn't left us with much time to play the new video games. But Tim, I've been in a quandary. Tim, I've been in a quandary.
That's a bad place to be, Dan.
I don't like being in a quandary. Should I tell you why I've been in a quandary? And I don't care what you answer because I'm going to tell you anyway. Yeah, I have been. I've been vexed. The vexation on this decision has been quite considerable. Right, Diablo IV specifically. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's on my list of things I'm excited about this year, which is good.
Yep.
It's nice to have things to look forward to. But I think we'll all agree, what with this whole are they merging, aren't they merging, Activision Blizzard, Microsoft type thing, it's a bit unclear exactly what kind of stuff in terms of platform incentives or which platforms you're going to get, it's all a little bit unclear because I will take you back to a magical moment, Timothy. It's Tuesday, your favourite day of the week.
Oh,
okay? Yeah, I'm watching television. Okay, I'm watching television. And I see an advert for Diablo IV, which was surprising. I was like, primetime TV, video game advert. Okay, glad to see it. But it had the Microsoft noise at the end. But the Microsoft logo, not the Xbox logo. You know, the noise. But it said Microsoft instead. So I don't know what to make the Microsoft logo, just like Microsoft.
No, I want you to do the noise again. I don't want you to do the logo thing again.
Put it in post.
The noise.
There we go. That's the Xbox noise. Please, if Microsoft, if you're listening, I would like a custom Xbox with that as the startup noise, please.
Sounds like a Wookiee getting trapped in a revolving door.
a Wookiee being rectally troubled by an Ewok. There we go.
Okay,
and that's going to find its way onto the soundboard.
I kept it clean, but yeah.
The Ewok didn't. Anyway, so I don't know because I really with Diablo 3, Kev, other PC chap, and myself. Despite the fact we're probably kind of recently more moved towards the world of PC gaming, both of us think actually the way to play Diablo 3 was on a console, that they actually did a cracking job in terms of, porting the control scheme over to consoles. It was actually a great experience playing on a joypad. And I enjoyed it so much that actually I think I might have enjoyed it slightly more than the clicky, mousy, fun times explosions in Diablo 3. Here's where my quandary lies, Tim.
Right.
If you pre-order, you get into the early bit of the beta starting tomorrow as we're recording.
Do you care?
But this is the thing. I don't know if I do. No. Because a bit of me is like, I'd love to talk about it on the show next week. But I'm also thinking, is it just going to come to Game Pass anyway? And is that just going to be flushing 60 quid down the toilet so I can play I can play the open beta for 2 more days than other people, because it is coming to everybody in a couple of weeks' time. So I don't know. Sort yourself out, Microsoft and Activision.
Right, I have a question which may answer your question. Yes. Does it work on your massive Deke?
No.
No.
The Battle.net client is troublesome on your massive Deke.
Oh.
I don't think at the moment there's any plans for it to be sold on Steam. It's going to be a departure from previous. If it's going to be anywhere, it would be on Xbox Cloud Gaming. But that's assuming that all of the things happen.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what to do, Tim. I'm all of a quandary.
Yeah, now I know why your quandary lies the way it does, because, well, for one, you've explained it, but for two, the answer to that question, because...
thank you.
If it
so conversations work.
No, but if it works on your massive Deke, then I think it would be fairly obvious that you'd buy the PC version, because you'd get more money's worth out of that, because you'd be able to play on your massive Deke. But if that isn't a factor...
My massive Deke.
Then, it's less of a value proposition for you, basically, because it's only on PC versus getting it for free on the Xbox. Or for free on
which will probably be on PC as well.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. That's my quandary, Tim. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
Yeah, and the thing is...
What an exciting life I lead.
Well, I will say that the Microsoft acquisition takeover thing is not going to be solved anytime soon.
Yeah, can I just say, on the week I had off, man, Sony are being right toe rags with that. And I was reading the reports of saying... The reason why we don't want to do it is just because we don't want you to do it. Is just simply because we don't want you to do it.
Yeah, but that's always going to be their position, and I think the courts will take their evidence with a slight pinch of salt. Although,
because
based on the legality of their arguments. But
now, I'm not saying that monopolies are a good thing, because they're not. But at the same time, my reading of the facts is that Sony is playing a little fast and loose with what could be considered a version of the truth.
Basically, yes, if you look at everything they're saying and with a good knowledge of the gaming world go, hang on, no, that's not really the case, and no, that sounds like BS, and like you can go through it, but they're not arguing it it's not gamers on a forum arguing over certain factors. It's the legality of the situation, and it's the way lawyers have to act. Basically, if they didn't throw everything at this and delay it as much as possible, Sony's not investors, but the shareholders would have a right to turn around and go, "Why didn't you challenge this more in court? Like, what are you doing?" Like, it's a factor of capitalism, basically, is what I'm saying. But
a bit me does have a wry smile when basically Sony's objections to it is like, look how we behaved when we had a bunch of platform exclusivity. We were utter so-and-sos. They do the
might
same.
give us a
Trust
broken version of Call of Duty. Like, well, okay. Like,
yeah.
They might.
It's not really in their interest to do so.
No.
Yes. Anywho, but I have been chipping away at some more Destiny 2 Lightfall. Like I said, I think I was probably not in an optimal frame of mind, but my disappointment with the story, I know you're going to start rolling your eyes. I can just tell you're hiding behind your pop shield, but I can tell that that it's not been. It's I think my problem is that they've kind of really still haven't explained MacGuffins. Even now, the raid and the seasonal activities and stuff start becoming a bit like, kind of the really contrived air of 90s philosophy books,
right? Yeah,
where it's kind of like, you can't have the light without the dark, and every bit of dark has a little bit of light, and every bit of light has a little bit of dark. That's essentially the plot.
Right, yeah. It's all shades
like light
of grey.
and dark aren't inherently bad. They're not inherently good. Can't have one without the other.
It's one of those things, like,
Q Ebony and
you
Ivory.
want justification for shooting things in the face. You don't really need shades of grey.
Oh, you can still shoot things in the face. There are things that are trying to cash in on the light versus dark in order to further their own agendas and
Right.
trying to gussy it up as, this is the way the universe should be. So that's basically it. So the new raid finally released.
Oh, well, that probably cheered you up a bit anyway.
Well, it did, but I was still feeling a bit COVID-y. So, and it was all a bit trippy. There's lots of like the floor moves, and there's all kinds of weird flowers and all kinds of like trees growing. And
Is that
I
just
got
in
very
your house
confused.
or when you're actually playing Lightfall?
Honestly, I don't know. I paracetamoled up before starting, but by about 4 hours in, I didn't know what was going on, and it was all very confusing. And there's like seeds of light and dark, and people crossing, and I was like, do you know what? I don't think this is going to happen. So we haven't got a clear in yet, or I haven't got a clear in yet. But most of the way through, they've got some really cool, fun mechanics, and I think one of the things about Destiny 2, even though the plot is, even by Destiny standards, getting a bit, you what, mate? Actually, some of the changes
that's
they've
some
made.
fairly low standards as well. But
yeah, I know, right? I actually really like what they've done with the build crafting and making kind of specking your character out to the way you want to play. They've made that a lot less complicated. I mean, some people are arguing they've taken a lot of the nuance out of it, but I actually think has made the game a bit more enjoyable in terms of, you really feel like the character you've created is tailored to you, and that's really good. So I think there's some good things in it.
Does that make it a bit more approachable for new players, do you think, as well?
I think so. Well, that bit of it is approachable to new players.
Yeah.
I've got no idea how the flipping
The
heck
rest
they
of it,
work
not
out
so
what's
much.
going on if they're brand new. Yeah, Destiny's 9 years in now, and if this is the first time you're picking up, you are going to be very confused. I can guarantee you that. But yeah, there's some really good bits about it. But I think for people who are really invested in it, the lore and the storytelling and wanting everything to kind of come to kind of a bit of a head in narrative terms, just to help kind of drive the character development on, is something that's sadly still a little bit lacking. But there we go. So I've been playing some more of that. Now, I'd imagine, though, Tim, much though I love to witter on about Destiny 2, and much though you've got a chuffing podcast where you should be doing this now, mate.
Yes.
You've been playing. I see
Saved
there's
a lot
something
of
called
this stuff.
PSVR Roundup. Why have you not got it all out your system on your other podcast?
Well,
Why?
right. For one, I don't know when we're recording the other podcast again, although I will speak to Kev this week and see where he's available, because there's a couple of games coming out that we could possibly talk about as well. I'll mention those two first and foremost. I haven't actually played that much this week, with being massively busy at work and then not feeling too well. It hasn't been a great time for me sticking VR on. I have tried a few other things here and there. I think since we last spoke, I tried the Call on the Mountain demo. Oh, sorry, I was going to say, there's two things I haven't played that have come out. One that's come out and one that's came out today, so they're both out now, but I haven't played either yet.
Slacker.
I have bought both of them, but before your eyes, I don't know if you saw, but there was a few people saying that this was the first must-buy game for PSVR 2, Greg Miller being one of them. It's the one where it's all story-based, and you can, advanced parts of the story by closing your eyes. I didn't actually realize that this had already been out on other systems previously. I think it's on PC in some form. But then also Switchback VR came out today. That's one I was quite excited for. I'm a bit disappointed that early reports are like that the graphics are quite blurry and not very sharp. Apparently there's some problem with them doing 60 frames per second with reprojection rather than going for what most developers are going for, which is 90. And yeah, that seems to have made the graphics a bit blurry. Hopefully that's something they can patch out, but I'm still looking forward to playing that one. If anyone doesn't know, it's a sequel to Until Dawn Rush of Blood. Oh, well, kind of spiritual successor to that, but say in the same format, it's a roller coaster light gun game type mashup. And yeah, I'm looking forward to playing a bit of that this evening at some point if I'm feeling up to it, which I hope I am. I will come on.
You look on socks.
As I said, played the Call of the Mountain demo. That was quite impressive, but actually I was like, okay, that's probably enough of this game until I pick it up at some point in the future for a lot less than the money I didn't pay for it.
But because to me, that just, because it very much, the Call of the Mountain very much feels, from what I understand, very much feels like a bit of a tech demo of, hey, isn't the Horizon universe cool? Oh, look, big flipping robot dinosaur.
Yeah.
And if you can just play a demo to get some of that, then...
Yeah. And it does look graphically amazing, and there's some nice touches and nice integrations of the new technology and all that type of stuff. But I think, for me, it's a combination of things that have proved to work well in the previous generation of VR, and then with the use of haptics and stuff on top of that, giving another layer to it. But climbing proved to work well, bow and arrows proved to work well, and kind of vistas and exploration type things seem to work quite well. But I'm not necessarily, I don't think that's the system seller or the big game for the console. As I said, I think Gran Turismo and Resident Evil do a much better job of that. That is not as exciting in headlines because they're older games, but they're much better experiences, and also shows that you can make a full standard pancake game, as people refer to them, and then also go on to do a VR mode or a VR version of your game that can add a lot to VR, I think, basically.
One thing that I saw that was quite hilarious when I was browsing through Reddit on the Gran Turismo subreddit was someone's got, right, I've been umming and ahhing whether I've got PSVR 2, so I've got PSVR 2, okay, and I'm very excited about it, but I thought what I should do is immediately push myself to the limit so everything else seems like a super fun good time. So I loaded up the fastest car, the windiest track, and just absolutely caned it, and just I made myself vomit, but I now know what my limit is, so it's all good. I was like, that's a rather extreme approach to working out where your limits are with PSVR sickness. Usually people do a little bit at a go, but...
Let's talk a bit Gran Turismo, because I didn't play so much of that this week, but I have played in the previous week and other bits here and there. I finished the end of the game, so playing through the end game content after you've rolled credits on that, and the things that led up to the end game was really great for me. So it was rally stuff, which is some of my favorite racing, as you probably know, followed by a Ferrari collection, followed by some hardcore racing,
you like red cars,
division things. And so, that was a perfect selection of stuff. And then the end game content stuff that goes after that as well has been quite good. Historic cars and other stuff as well. But then I tried my dad out in some VR the other day. I gave him a go. So I put him in Gran Turismo because I thought that would be one thing that would be impressive for him.
Were you trying to make a sweet
anyway.
meme, Tim?
No, Tim.
Is that what you're doing? Oh no, We have a septuagenarian here and a VR helmet. Clearly, internet fame beckons.
I put him in like one of my favorite cars, but though on retrospect, like he hasn't played many driving games before, and yeah, he was saying, yeah, I need a steering wheel. I want a steering wheel, but like he was really impressed with like the VR and just the fact that you could look around you and use your mirrors and all that type of stuff. But then yeah, he just couldn't get the whole using the analog stick to steer. He just kept on skidding out on almost every corner, basically. But yeah, he was like, I want to try that again with the steering wheel. But then I also showed him Kayak VR and showed him that for a bit as well. And the nice thing about that is I didn't even explain anything to him. He just, like, I put the controllers on his hands and he just started doing the motions and like was just, off and doing it. I was like, oh, you might be better at me than this.
Nice.
So yeah, he thought that was like massively impressive as well. I think that's definitely a good one to show people that are new to VR, and you don't. As I said, I didn't even have to explain anything to him. He just got the idea and then could see that his paddle was going, and so just went for it basically. Yeah. So yeah, anyway, that was quite fun just showing stuff off to him. I'll come on to the flip side of VR. I played the first thing in VR that I was not impressed with.
Oh, okay. Do tell.
Humanity.
What made you grumpy?
Two factors, and I might get. Oh well, I think I deleted the demo because I needed the hard drive space to get Switchback. But yeah, I might give it another go in flat screen. But the VR just doesn't really add very much to the game itself. Like it's basically just you looking at the setup.
It's like Lemmings, this essentially, isn't it?
Kind of, but not. So
I'm massively reductively describing it there.
But right, if you replace Lemmings with humans, and it's just a flow of humans that flow through the level in whatever direction, like they just go in a straight line, basically, and then
silly humans.
But then there's
humans.
There's no, there's not as much risk to that flow of just the normal humans that go, that like they can just drop off the end of a cliff and it doesn't make any difference. There's no urgency or like you have to do with Lemmings where there's only a certain number and you need to get a certain number to a goal. There's none of that with this. But there are big, and I can't remember what they call them, but they're big humanoid shaped things that are bigger, goldies or something they call them. And you have to get those safely to the to the end checkpoint, and you guide the flow of humans to pick up the goldies and pull them into wherever you're going, and you change the direction and flow of humanity because you're a little dog. I swear it says something like, one day I woke up and I was a dog, and you're like,
I'm really glad I didn't play this when I was unwell.
Yeah, this could have melted your brain maybe. But you're a little dog character that you can jump into the flow of humans to carry you from one place to another. But generally, you're wanting to like walk ahead of where they're going to be, and you can put down arrows on the floor which redirect them, and you can put down jump pads which make them jump, or things that make them float, and different things like this. And it's putting those in different combinations and putting people in different directions on the level that make you like reflow where humanity's, like the line of humanity's going, so that you get them all to the checkpoint and can achieve the goals on the way, which are usually picking up the golden people.
Is there some kind of very contrived social commentary underlying all of this as well?
Possibly, but if so, it's mainly lost on me. I think they went, oh look, we can do this bit of technology. We have a stream of people that can throw themselves off the edge of a cliff or be directed in whatever direction, and we're like, maybe we should make a game with this. Will it be fun? No, but let's do it anyway because we can. And
we got some of that sweet VR money. We can do whatever we want.
Again, that may be me being a bit reductionist and also possibly being a bit grumpy due to being on the verge of illness and tiredness. But I didn't click with it much at all. And I love Enhance, and they make great music-based games. And I can't even tell you if there was any music in this, but there was wasn't any musical interaction between what was going on. It does seem from because I've seen some video clips since, that there is more layers to this possibly. So maybe I do need to go in and give it a bit more of a chance and mess around with it a bit more. But I certainly won't be picking up to play in VR particularly because, as I said, that didn't seem to add anything to the experience particularly.
Okay.
So yeah,
Fair enough.
That's that.
Now, just coming back to Horizon, however,
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
there was some Horizon Zero Dawn news. While I was out, apologies, talked about this last week.
Yep.
They've got that new DLC on the way for the
Yes.
main game, and what was interesting to hear is that it's PS5 only, and basically that
yeah, I
means
did see
they
that.
are no longer shackled by some of the design decisions they had to make to ensure that things could still work on a PS4. So apparently, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I'm still
That'll be
bitter that
interesting
it
from
got
that,
released
yeah.
for free. Still bitter it got given away free after I spent money on it.
Yeah, I still haven't played it, if
But
that makes you feel any better, but yeah.
yeah, it's good times. It's good times, and it looks like there's some really great stuff coming out on the kind of PS Plus game, the kind of the stuff that gets bundled in with PS Plus.
Yeah, it kind
I
of
think
needs it at the moment, but
Uncharted.
yeah.
But they've timed it quite well because it appears to be a little bit all worryingly quiet on kind of the Xbox Game Pass side of things. I certainly don't feel that they've had as many kind of big old tentpole releases on that.
Really? Because
recently.
I think Atomic Heart last month and Wolong this month, I think they're two big releases. I like, if I hadn't been for VR, I would have played quite a bit of Wolong. I think I really like the look of that. Keep on meaning to actually download it and then forgetting, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's some good stuff. So there's like the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection, Chia, Ghostwire Tokyo, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Life is Strange 2, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game.
Ghostwire Tokyo, rather, is coming to Game Pass this week or month as well, basically, I think. Because, I think
good times.
The extra content that's coming for both of them this month as well. The other reason that's out on what's the name, but yeah. That'll be interesting. One other thing I was going to say in my VR roundup thing as well, I played a bit more of Runner, and that game I really like. That's been really, really good. I highly recommend it. It's you're on a kind of very Akira-looking bike in a anime-type setting, and it took a bit of getting used to, and I think they've patched it to make it slightly easier. They've also patched in a mode where you can play 2-player, so you can have one person doing the driving in the bike and the other person doing the shooting.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that could be quite cool. But then you've got like a sword that you can bring out as well, and they're upgrading that in an upcoming patch as well, because that doesn't seem as useful as it should be. They also added a load of intel, and so they've given you a bit more details on the bosses, and I was hoping that they'd give me a bit more detail on the second boss, who I've been stuck on for some time now. But apparently I was doing the right thing. He's just bloody hard.
Fair enough.
But but generally, really enjoyable game. I really like that so far. It's been very good, and it's good that the developer's supporting it and has released some updates and new content and other bits and bobs. And so I recommend Runner, especially for the price that it is as well, basically.
But it's not just that you've been doing. You've also been dabbling in some Mario Kart 8, I understand, as well. So is there yet more DLC for that?
Yet more DLC. This is part of the, what do they call it? I can't remember the pass thing for the, it's not a year pass or whatever. I don't remember what
annual
they
pass?
call it. But annual pass. They call it something else. I can't remember exactly. But it's part of that. It's wave 4 of 6 that are coming out. It includes 8 new tracks. It's the
Deluxe Booster Course Pack.
Deluxe Booster Course Pack. Well, there you go. So, really catchy. I can't think why I couldn't remember it. But it's, 8 new tracks. Also includes Birdo, who we knew was coming and discussed in recent weeks. And Birdo is available in, I think, 9 different colours as well. But there's also, a bit more excitingly, opened up 4 more slots currently with question marks that are for, and I think 5 new slots actually for new drivers that are being added in the future by the looks of things as well. So I'm assuming that will come with Wave 5 and Wave 6, but we'll see what happens with that. The 2 new cups are the Fruit Cup and the Boomerang Cup. The Fruit Cup features Amsterdam Drift from Mario Kart World Tour, and that's a really good course. That looks really nice on the Switch. Plays pretty well. You got like fields of tulips you're going through and dunking into, I think, canals and the Amstel River and stuff as well. So yeah, that's quite interesting. Quite a good course. Riverside Park, which was from the GBA, which is the only course out of the 8 that I was like, well, this course is dull. Like, it's just
Wow. Okay.
it's fine. It's not massive. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just a bit of a boring race, basically. Then you got DK Snowboard Cross from the Wii, which is one of those courses you're like, oh yeah, I remember this course. Like, it's got like half pipes as you go down, and you can go up the half pipes to actually then come back down the other side of it. It's quite a fun race to play. I quite enjoyed that one. That's been quite good. I've just noticed that I must have missed one of the ones off this list. What's the other
that's
one
not like
there?
you sneaking more games into the agenda, Tim.
No. As in one of the courses off the list of 4. It's
Okay.
the new Yoshi's Island one, which is really good. So yeah, that's the kind of only new one of 8. Like, that hasn't featured in any other Mario Kart games before. It's got like nice references to the kind of Yoshi's Island game and Yoshi and stuff. It does feel a bit like it's cobbled together from other previous courses, kind of thing. You're like, oh yeah, this bit looks like that course, but generally, like, the background and stuff is all new and all a bit different. And to say that it feels like elements of classic tracks strapped together probably isn't the worst criticism to make of it. And it's a good fun course to play, so yeah, that's all right. Then in the Boomerang Cup, you've got Bangkok Rush, which again is from Mario Kart World Tour. And yeah, that's quite a fun course. There's a bit of verticality in that. And yeah, I've only raced that one a couple of times, but that seems all right. Mario Circuit DS is one of those ones where you're like, oh, right, yeah, I forgot this course existed, which is slightly different to my reaction to DK Snowboard Cross.
Right. Okay.
But again, it's fine. It's okay. It's not the most fun race in the world, but it's okay. It's just not massively memorable, or there's not any outstanding features that particularly sort of make you go, oh yeah, this course is great for that. But yeah, it's okay. And then Waluigi Stadium, which is from the GameCube. Now, I don't know about you, this is one of the most racetracks between me and my mates on the GameCube.
Well, the GameCube occurred at a period where I kind of was a bit of a dirty student with no money, so
Okay.
I never actually played much GameCube.
I've played quite a bit of this. It's probably the Mario Kart I played the most overall, I would say, possibly. Retained some of the features that you remember and has enhanced them a bit. Like, it was one of the first tracks I remember that actually had some 3D-ness to it, as in, like, it actually had depth and wobbliness in terms of height, which is, like, that wasn't a common thing before that, basically. And you felt like you were really going up and down hills in a kind of off-road stadium. So it loses a bit of its luster in the fact that that's a fairly common thing these days, and it doesn't hold up for that, but they have like perfected a bit. But the one thing that they've streamlined, they've taken out something that was, for me, one of the most key features of Waluigi Stadium. I don't know if you didn't play it much, you may not remember this, but there was a feature in the game where there was a point in the race where the track went over a previous bit of track, and if you got hit by some of the things, I think it was the feather back then or whatever, but the lightning bolt possibly, the thing that makes you small anyway, if you got hit at the wrong point, you could then get sucked down onto the bit of track below you and have to repeat like half a lap. So everyone used to keep the lightning things particularly for that moment to really mess someone up, basically. But they've completely taken that out of the course. Now, I can kind of understand why you're doing that for modern day and online and all that type of stuff. But for me, it doesn't feel like the same course with its absence, because that was one of its most memorable features, kind of thing.
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty classic Waluigi as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like completely Waluigi move, that one. So yeah. It's a bit of a shame, but hey. And then the last course of the 8 is Singapore Speedway. That is again from Mario Kart World Tour. I have to say, all the Mario Kart World Tour levels have actually been really good so far in the DLC. Like, this is no exception. Again, it's got some nice verticality, plays well. It's a good fun little race. It's got some variety between the laps. And yeah, it's good. Overall, I think the 2 cups are a nice addition and I'll play more of. Although, yeah, Mario Kart doesn't feel the same when you're playing on your own, and I don't want to play it online with strangers. So it's weird, Mario Kart, for me these
Stranger
days.
danger, Tim. Stranger
Also,
danger.
Don't play with friend of the show, Ed, because he'll just beat you. So that won't be fun either. So
Maybe we ought to make him and Brady fight to the death.
Yeah,
because Brady is worryingly good at those. I remember Brady handing my backside to me in, what was it, Mod Racers on PS3,
right?
Which is a game I never really got
Mod
on
Nation
with,
Racers.
but I know you and Brady loved it. Mod Nation Racers. There we go.
Like that a lot. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. There we go. Right. Well, that is all we have done play because there is no Coleman, and we don't know what Coleman's played because Coleman's not here.
No.
He's probably played something on his massive dick.
Probably.
I don't know what it is. Ooh,
sounds like a Coleman thing to do.
It does. So we shall crack on with a little whistle-stop tour through the news. First up, Tim, bad news.
Yeah.
They might have delayed Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League again.
You say bad news,
but
considering that was due to the fan reaction, that might be good news for everyone involved.
So my understanding is that they showed a bit of footage at the most recent Sony State of Play, and people were like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Including me. Right. I was quite critical, and as I said, it came from a place of absolutely loving the developers, but seeing them going down a strange path that possibly was more their overlords' thinking and options that they'd forced upon them rather than what they'd necessarily want to play. But it seems to be echoed by other people. Like it does seem to have got a bit of a backlash in general. The fact that I think the main criticisms I saw from other people, and including myself, is that the 4 characters didn't seem like they had their own way of getting through the environment, but they didn't seem like they were in keeping with the characters that they were representing, basically. And likewise, like every character had it was a generic looter shooter, and every character seemed to have access to every type of gun. And again, that didn't seem necessarily that interesting or in keeping with the characters. And the thing that didn't bother me as much, but there was a lot of people seem to be taking the mickey out of the fact there was like giant purpley pink areas on the enemies and the other things that you had to destroy in the environment that were their definite weak points. Apparently that makes sense in a story set up with Brainiac, but that's not something I'm particularly familiar with myself.
But on the bright side, if Mr. Blobby turns up, he would be annihilated because he'd just be one big crit spot.
Yeah, but I think one of the biggest criticisms was the fact that it's an always online game, even if you're playing single player.
Yay!
Which we know well and truly that doesn't. Also, it does seem that the whole game, even though they've toned it down a bit, there's a battle pass and there's a few other things. There's cosmetics that you can buy and all this type of stuff. And I think they're saying all the wrong things at the wrong time. There's a load of games of service that have just failed where people have invested money into it. And basically, I think the lesson learned is if you're not Destiny or Apex or anything like massive, then you can't produce a games as a service. And possibly, I don't think anything would necessarily work in the current environment. Even when you've got a big name like DC or something, I can't see that working well. But yeah, so a lot of people were critical of it, and I think with some good reason. And I hope it's being delayed now because the criticism armed Rocksteady with enough information to go back to Warner Brothers and go, see, this is why we shouldn't be doing this. This is why we want to do this instead. And I hope that's what they're now implementing, and that we will get a better game as a result, and that Rocksteady will get a more successful product as a result. That is my hope. And so, as I said, the delay is possibly not bad news.
Well, hopefully if you get a better game at the end of it, I mean, good. I mean, however, it might be so far along that they might only have bandwidth for spit and polish rather than complete overhaul or something.
And that's what Jason Schreier was seemingly indicating that might be the case. And so that will be actually bad if that's the case, possibly. But I hope I hope it gives them time to make at least some changes to the structure of the game. You might not be able to like go and rewrite everything from the ground up, but you would think like locking certain weapons to certain characters and not having an always online connection might be possible. But yeah, let's see.
Well, we shall indeed see. But that wasn't the only thing in the news, Tim. Good news! Capcom are turning 40 and are having a massive midlife crisis to celebrate. Brilliant. So there's a whole bunch of they did the spotlight recently, where unsurprisingly they're wanting to remind you all that Street Fighter 6 is just around the corner, and that the final shoutcaster was announced, and that's a Japanese actress called Hikaru Takahashi. Apparently, apologies for the mispronunciation.
Possibly the least interesting thing to announce as part of the show,
I know.
the spotlight, but still. Okay.
But hey, they had to. They couldn't not mention Street Fighter 6. So like, oh man, is this really the only thing we've got left to announce?
Oh, we've announced all the characters already. Oh.
But there's this roundabout that only people in Japan have heard of. You're excited about that, right? Right? Anyone excited about? No? Okay.
Nope.
Well, here's some other stuff. But there was some. There was a Resident Evil 4 special demo, I believe, that's been released.
That is out now. Lots of people have been talking about that with fairly mixed results. But yeah, most people are having fun with it, despite a few weird issues that I would think if it's a demo, they've got time to polish them out, and maybe as a result of it just being a demo. But people seem to be a bit critical of it in places, technically at least.
Yeah, so this is the remake, isn't it, of Resident Evil 4, of course. And some,
Although the game is out very soon, so yeah, 24th of March.
So I think it's out in, so in about a week from now, I believe. Exo Primal got a release date. It's coming out on all of the things. Your Xbox Series your Xbox Ones your PlayStation 5s and 4s and your Steams on July 14th with an open beta test with cross-platform excitement coming on March 17th to March 19th, which slightly clashes with the Diablo betas. But hey, it's all good. It's all good. I have to say that Exoprimal, so it's a third-party shooty thing, again, fighting off hordes of dinosaurs. And that's pretty much all I know about it, to be honest.
Yes. I was interested when they first announced it in terms of kind of reminded me of like, oh, maybe it's a new Earth Defense Force, but they've just got dinosaurs rather than bugs. I'm in. But then subsequently, I've got slightly less interested in it. I think this is one that I will wait to hit Game Pass or something else before I actually give it a try, I think, basically.
Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak's coming to the PlayStation and Xbox on April 28th. Monster Hunter Rise, of course, super exciting for many people, so that's good news for many. Also, there was Ghost Trick Phantom Detectives launching on June 30th. I must admit, don't know a great amount about this game. Do you know anything about it?
Only what they showed in the presentation. It looks a bit strange, possibly not for me, but I don't know. It looked okay, but yeah, I don't know. Again, I might give it a try if it comes to a Game Pass type thing or something, just to see if it's of interest.
I mean, I think this is it. It's essentially a remake, I think, of the 2010 Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, where the whole kind of thing is you got murdered, but you're trying to solve your own murder, and it's by the creator of the surprise Ace Attorney series. Yeah. So
I think, if I'm correct, the original game is called Ghost Trick, and it's Ghost Trick Phantom Detective is this version. I may be wrong on that one. Maybe it was a subtitle originally, but I only remember it being called Ghost Trick before. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, there we go. So solve your own murder.
That should really be someone else's job. I'm dead.
It should be, shouldn't it? It's like, come on, I've had a bad day already. Now you're telling me I've got to work out who killed me.
No,
I've got to somehow bring myself back from the dead. Look, I'm meant to be having a lie down.
Give me a day off, boss, for crying out loud.
How is this resting in peace? How exactly? Jesus, government cuts to essential services like the police is shocking. There's also more kind of re-releasey goodness in the forms of the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection coming April 14th to Steam, PlayStations, Nintendo Switches. And there's 10 games, 2 volumes, so I'd imagine they're doing it in 2 chunks. And the Battle Network Legacy thing, it's like kind of like it's like a semi-real-time strategy fighty cardy thing. I'm again never really featured on my radar. I know it was big on the Game Boy Advance, and that people were quite excited about like trading their things.
Apparently there was a load
guess.
of cards that I don't know if they never came out of Japan or they were just a bit rarefied in some other way. But apparently they're adding all of the content that was related to those cards into the game, so you don't have to have those cards to get them in the game, which kind of makes sense these days. But yeah, fine. Okay. Never been the biggest Mega Man fan, to be honest.
No. So, yeah, and there's other kind of like more transmedia kind of things. There is an upcoming CG movie, Resident Evil Death Island. It's coming in summer, and it's going to have a lot of Jill Valentine in there for all you you lucky people who love living in that corner of the internet, you lucky scamps. And they've also announced a digital theme park. Capcom Town. It's like Crazy Town, but less irritating to watch, I would hope. So it's all to do with the company's 40th birthday. Opens on June 12th, and there's kind of lots of like various virtual buildings you can go in to learn about the history of all their games. So I'm it sounds quite fun.
Is this what you do when you're having a midlife crisis as a gaming company? Like you open a theme park. I think that's how it goes. Instead of buying a sports car, this is the gaming company equivalent.
Yeah, it's a bit look how culturally relevant we have been.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it comes down
I'm
to.
still cool.
Oh, look at me, yeah. So you can go and commiserate Capcom on their rapidly receding hairline and growing pot belly come June 12th.
Capcom is now over the hill.
Exactly. And last but absolutely not least, Creative Assembly have announced a brand new development studio in the UK, Creative Assembly North. It's going to be led by Giselle Stewart, who is an OBE. And so they're going to be working with Creative Assembly Sussex on a bunch of new projects. And a newly formed continuous improvement team. Exactly what that is, we don't know. But yeah, but they're going to hopefully go on a big recruitment drive and kind of continue to grow kind of innovation in games that I think the UK's been so good at. So looking forward to it. What they're going to come up with. I think we're all newsed out.
Oh, good.
Unless there's something you've forgotten. Are there 15 more games you want to secretly talk about?
There are other headlines I could add, but I think we should possibly answer one of the questions from our.
I think we probably
have
should.
Some time.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, before we get onto the questions, I would not be doing my job if I didn't remind you that you can buy my face on a shirt or a mug or a face mask, face on a face. And you can go to tpublic.com/stores/BRB to get some sweet merch, you lucky people. So make sure you trundle on over there. And Tuesday, Tim, remains a Tuesday. Is there Tabletop Tuesday goodness to happen this week?
I didn't make it to this week's Tabletop Tuesday due to aforementioned verge of illness and busyness, so I was stuck at work, unfortunately. Fortunately, I'd already arranged for someone to run some games of Blood in the Clock Tower, so thank you very much to Eccentric for doing that last week. But this week we have a brand new feature game. Anyone that doesn't know, each and every week, or most weeks at a Tabletop Tuesday, we have a different feature game, and if you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning that game at the end of the evening. We have a game called King Domino Origins this week. I don't know exactly how it differs from King Domino, but we shall see. But the
origin story, mate.
Yeah, possibly the origin story. But all the King Domino and Queen Domino games have been quite good so far, generally, the ones that I've played, and from other people's reactions, they always go down reasonably well. So this one is one I think you should look forward to generally. So come along. You can get more details on the top left-hand corner of Big Red Barrel, or you can join us on Meetup. We've got over 2,000 members in our Meetup group. Search for Tabletop Tuesday on Meetup, or just come along to the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington on Tuesday and possibly win a game by playing it.
Sweet. Sounds pretty good. So that is Loading Bar, Stoke Newington this Tuesday and every other Tuesday you want, really. If it's a Tuesday and you're in Stoke Newington, you know what to do. You know what to do.
Do that.
you should do that. So we've, as all of you who are regular listeners to the show know that we like to delve about on our Discord and look for questions, because we do like a question here at BRB UK. If you're wondering where the heck our Discord is, there is going to be a link in the show notes for this episode, or a link on bigredbarrel.com, and I'm sure you could probably find out where to go from all other places on the internet with /BigRedBarrel after them. So I'm going to pick on Damo.coop or co-op. I don't quite know which one it is, but let's Coop. We'll go for Coop.
We have wondered this before and not got confirmation on this, but yeah.
Yeah. So he has a question, or they have a question. Currently, quote, enjoying a train journey across the country. Look at them, showing how fly they are by actually having a train that goes somewhere in this day and age.
A moving train during these strike days.
Yes, train journey across the country. And by enjoying, I mean I'm actually stopped with no explanation as to why I am. With that in mind, what's your favourite train level in a game? With the re-release of GoldenEye, I'm reminded of how much I loved that one back in the day.
Oh, I've got two good answers
Tim,
for this.
Favourite train level?
Two
All right,
good.
go for it.
I'm going to have to go one or the other. There's a level in a game called Singularity where basically due to rewinding mechanics and stuff that you had in the game, it was all about controlling time. There's different parts of a train engine coming back together, and that was quite a cool level. That was quite good. Also, there's a level in a game that we actually talked about on VRB with Kev, but a game called... I always forget the first bit of the title. I Expect You to Die, which is a very good kind of escape room type VR game.
That is a cracking game.
Cracking game. And there's a level which is really good. It was part of the DLC, which I think was given away for free, so you could download it afterwards. I might be misremembering that, but it was one of the extra levels that came after the game, so they'd really learn all their lessons from the game and kind of put them into to that level. And yeah, that was just a really good level and quite memorable, and I liked that as well. So yeah, that's my two answers on that one.
I'll let you have the other one as well, Tim. Go for it.
No, that was my two. Singularity.
That was your two.
And I Expect You to Die.
Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah. I Expect You to Die. Right, I've got two. One is a rather more kind of slam dunk one.
Can't have two, Dan. You asked your favourite. Like, what were you doing?
They're two equal favourites, all right? They're two favourites.
Yeah.
I like them equally. One is probably more of the more kind of bombastic kind of action movie sequence that is the train level out of Uncharted 2 among thieves.
Oh, yes.
That is a corking level, because it's all about, not only clambering on the outside of the train, but find your way through inside it, and then there's a big old helicopter at the end.
Doesn't that game start with you dangling from the train?
I think it does, actually.
I think it does, doesn't it? And then you do a little flashback and get back there later.
So there's that, and of course, you couldn't talk about trains in video games without mentioning Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, okay.
The beginning of Final Fantasy VII.
Yep.
Just because it gives me good feelings, is what it gives me. So there we go. So that's my two, even though he asked us for one.
Both games
but we're
start
making up
with
for
a
Colin
train.
not being here.
Yep, no, that's two good answers as well, Dan.
Yeah. There we are. Cool. Right. Well, I think that's your lot. There are other questions, but we thought we'd just do one. And if you want to ask a question and see if we see what we have to say about it, make sure you rock on over to our Discord. Go over to the BRB UK Hangout, say hello, ask a question, and we'll do our best to talk rubbish in response to said question.
Yep.
Cool. So that's your lot, ladies and gents. Things you should do, and I'm going to put things on your to-do list, and I expect you to report back next time, is to go to bigredbarrel.com, twitter.com/bigredbarrel, facebook.com/bigredbarrel, find links to our Discord, go there. And also, if you get the chance, chances are if you're listening to this, you have downloaded it from a podcast place of your choosing. And it would be lovely if you could leave us a review. Obviously, we get very excited by 5-star reviews. But any review of any flavour, just as long as it is, we welcome feedback and we like constructive feedback. We'll be very excited to hear from you. So go do that. I think we scrape all of the podcast stores, so we'll pick up if you leave it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere else. We'll find it. Yeah.
That sounds very threatening.
It does, doesn't it? We will find you and we will hunt you down, Mr. 1-star review. We will end you. We will send Tim round your house and make him talk to you about menus for 15 hours in one go.
I just thought of something.
Oh, God.
Right, leave us a review.
What?
And this is homework for our listeners again, but if you can, I'd be interested to see this anyway. Get ChatGPT, which is all the rage at the moment, to write a review of BRB UK and then post it as a review and see what it says. I'd be interested to see.
Well, I've got the Bing thing.
The Bing thing.
Review BRB UK. The Bing bot.
The Bing bot.
Review BRB UK. Searching for BRB. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you're asking for. Can you please clarify your request?
Maybe if you put Big Red Barrel
Ballet?
UK.
What is Big Red Barrel UK like? I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you're asking for.
I'm sorry, Dave.
I think our search engine optimization might not be great.
Well,
what does Big Red Barrel UK do?
That's possibly part of the problem.
What does Big Red Barrel UK do? I flummoxed it. We are men of mystery. We are men of mystery, like Coleman's day
can't do
job.
everything. See, you listener can do better than AI. You can do something that AI can't do. Although I don't know if you saw the leak that came out earlier today. That they're putting functionality of that in a load of Microsoft products, and it was scary. I think I responded with that looks like 80% of the world are out of a job now. Like, it can literally come up with Word things and Word documents, which you've kind of seen it do, but then also like full presentations for, what's the thing? I never bloody use it, but the thing for doing slideshows.
PowerPoint.
In Microsoft. PowerPoint. Yeah, it can do whole PowerPoint presentations and stuff. And it's like, that looks a bit,
Well, according to the Bing bot, we have a YouTube channel where we've amassed quite the backlog of podcasts over the years. And we also have a gaming podcast that brings you the best of British called the Big Red Barrel UK podcast. Thanks, Robot Overlords.
Okay, so they got there in the end.
Anyway, we are going to go now. Thanks to the wonders of AI. Slightly terrifying. We're going to go now because you've probably heard enough from us. So make sure to go and do all the things that we told you to do because, why not? And we will be back next week, hopefully with a Coleman in tow. So do trundle back and try and download us if that takes your fancy. But until next time, all that's really left for me to do is to remind you that I have been Dan.
I may have been Tim.
And no one's been Chaos.
No. He's so chaotic this week. He's not even here. Can't get much more chaotic than that.
The most chaotic thing would be is if he appeared now.
That would be...
No, definitely no chaos.
No.
I'm not sure he's like... I'm not. Mind you, that's making him sound like Beetlejuice, where you can make Coleman appear by saying his name 3 times while looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
Try it.
Stand in the mirror.
There's more homework. Try Coleman, that. Let me know if it worked.
Coleman. Just don't do it after midnight and don't give him any water if he comes or something. I don't know.
Right, we're going to end this show now.
Yeah,
all right, so thank you so much
before I make this worse.
For downloading us. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Your ears are quite welcome
for the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
They go to me at work, what are you doing to promote this game? And I go, well, I've got one guy saying I've been Chaos at the end of every podcast episode for the last year. How's that translating to sales? I don't know.
We've got 2 knocked off people that will never play this game now.